Hello and welcome to a very delayed 2025 completed reading journal flip through. Unfortunately, I have been a bit sick during January and was unable to finish up my December pages, finish up this journal till completion to where I was happy to do a flip through. So I've only just got to it now, but I thought I would film this quick video anyway and show you all a look of how it looks now that it is all done. To start off, having a look at how the journal is doing. This is a journal that I got from Journalsay, I believe it was. Journalsay or Stationery Pal? One of the two. I should look that up. I will link it down below if it's still for sale. But it was just sort of a cheap journal. It had a lot of dot grid pages that I believe they were marketed as about 120 GSM, as well as 2 ribbon bookmarks and just sort of this nice green color that I enjoyed and a cute little like moon celestial gem type sort of motif to it. It is held up very well. You can see it is very thick in the pages that I have used, especially sort of up the top area more so than the bottom, but it has held together very well with the spine down the bottom not even moving, and the spine up the top actually has also stayed very solid. So I guess that for a cheap notebook that I got off wherever I got it off, that is very helpful. I haven't had really any problems with the quality of it throughout the time. The paper is maybe a tiny bit thin, but I've never really noticed very obvious ghosting. But I also don't use any sort of paint marker, acrylic marker, things that would tend to bleed through anyway. That's how the journal itself has gone. Let's zoom in a bit and I will show you all the pages that are completed. Let's give it an open. A lot of these have not obviously changed since you've seen them through various reading journal videos, just because they were static pages like my nameplate page. But I don't think I've ever shown it this close up. So this is how it looks. These flowers here came default on this nameplate page in this journal. And then I just stuck some stuff over it because I didn't like this journal belongs to whatever it said. I didn't really enjoy that. Just something a bit simple. Technically not simple compared to my 2026 one, but anyway. Same with my cover page. Nothing has changed with that. That's been the same the whole time. This is a terrible page, not because it's of its design or anything, but as you can see, there was only one goal out of my 6 goals that I actually completed this year. And that was just my general reading goal number, and I only did that by pushing myself to actually get to it. So completing my 2024 bought books, or like my physical TBR, I got honestly probably close. If I have a look at Goodreads, I think I can't remember, some of them may have been 2025 and I counted them, some of them may have been 2024 and I didn't count them, but it's about 15 out of my 30 current physical TBR that is from my 2024 bought books. So didn't complete it, but could have been worse. I did get through quite a lot of them. 20 non-fantasy romance books, that is embarrassing. That out of 120 books, only 15 of them weren't fantasy or romance or both. I know who I am, and who I am is unfortunately romantasy. So yeah. 20 translated books, I wish I'd done better with this. I just kept not really being in the mood for them. Once again, they're not sort of my default genre style, so I just didn't get as many done as I thought I would. I also didn't read as many classics as I was hoping to, but still getting 7 done is pretty good, but a lot of them were done at the end of the year trying to get closer to this goal. And then lastly, reading 1 book in Hangul or Korean. Honestly didn't even attempt this. I should have. I have like a Winnie the Pooh kids book that I bought years ago that I should try. I just don't really think I'm there yet. Maybe this year. Now I am. I believe I put it as a goal for this year as well, so hopefully it gets a bit closer. Next we have the 25 in 2025, which I did complete. I read the last 4 of them in December. They were all obviously books that I liked. There was one book that I removed. I think I replaced it with Spark of the Everflame, and that was XOXO by Axio. I started reading it and it just felt like a book for career boos and just gave me the ick, and so I stopped reading it and DNF'd it and chose a different book instead because I was like 20 pages in, so it wasn't much. I think my lowest rated book is Persuasion, having a quick... Oh no, Fire Brother. Yeah, of course. That was my lowest book of the year as well, I think, wasn't it? For many obvious reasons if you've read it. My release radar, moving on from that, is pretty good. It was a helpful tracker. I did add to it throughout the year. I have kept up with the same style for 2026, and most of them that I haven't purchased yet, I will eventually, or the date got changed or things like that, so I will come back to this and check on this. Then we've got the bookshelf tracker, which is all now nice and complete. This was one of the main reasons that I wanted to get to 120, was to completely color in this bookshelf tracker and have it complete. Unfortunately, my limitation of, which I should have guessed, reading only romantasy makes it difficult to have a fun looking bookshelf when you then color code by genre. So in 2026 I have changed that, so hopefully next year this year the version of this will look a little more varied and not so just red and yellow. Then we have the books read list, which is very basic. I don't know why I don't like that I did not round these corners, but anyway, I did have a third page for if I went over my reading goal, and I obviously did not, so it's just a blank page now. Then we have my series tracker. So this was, I wouldn't say a mistake, but for the amount of serialized books that I enjoy reading, this layout does not provide me with enough room. I actually read more series than this because there were quite a lot of series that I started in December, but because I started them in December, I didn't add it to this tracker. I just added it to my 2026 one. I have changed the format for this one. It looks cute, but for me, it's not enough room. I would have to do multiple spreads if I wanted to stay with this format. Then my read around the world. This is pitiful looking. It only has the places that I expected it to have, and I did not branch out at all, so it's just got Japan, Korea, Australia, New Zealand, UK, Ireland, US and Canada. So I have this again for 2026, and I am going to try. I say when I have not branched out at all in January, but I will try more, hopefully. Then we have a very satisfying page. So we have my pages in pixels, and this shows there is no grey. I read every single day of 2025, and I logged how many pages I read, and now it's all in here. You can see that sort of the prevailing color is this 51 to 100. So I guess that's just like sort of my typical reading, and then it's sort of in this range, isn't it? It's sort of like between 50 and 200 seems to be my typical number of pages read, with a dotted around of the larger numbers, and a fair bit of 1 to 50 as well, especially sort of depending on the time of year and how busy I was, if I was just reading to quickly get a reading done for that day. But I'm happy with this. I'm glad that I read every day of this year, or last year, and I've moved this on again to 2026, and it is one of my goals actually to just read every day of the year. So this will be coming back, although I'm using different colors, I believe. Can't even remember now. We'll find out together. The next month's reading journal video, because I've not opened my 2026 reading journal yet, and it's February. Next we have the romance trope bingo. I did complete this in my own way. Technically one bed. I may have cheated a bit. I used the Bridge Kingdom, which it sort of does, but it's not like the one bed trope. That's the only one that's really sort of ambiguous. The rest of them definitely were right, and doing it again this year, I'm just doing different tropes so that it sort of stays interesting. Then we have the alphabet challenge, which I also did complete. I did the last two of U and X in December. Ironically, both of them were wide choosers, which is interesting. Don't know how that happened, but they got it done for me. It now means that this year I need to find new U's and X's. Luckily, I read for Christmas, my friend gifted me Foxy Tales, so I got Z done again very quickly. So there's that, but we still do have a couple of these hard letters that I will need to search for again this year. So if anyone has any recommendations, please let me know. Then we have my little bent book bracket. Ran into a problem with this where I think it's more just the way that I rate. I did come up with a lot of areas where there were ties because I just rated it the same number, unfortunately. So technically it's sort of like a tied for first, because Wildcard and Love Unwritten both got 34.5 on my core pal scale. Like, thinking about vibes and everything, decided that I'd put Wildcard first, and then I printed it out the wrong size, which we're gonna say I did because it's not technically a dead first, and it's tied, and that's why I didn't print it out as big, and not because I calculated it wrong. We also, you can see, had ties between A Little Life, Full Moon Coffee Shop, and Memory Police. I, again, just off vibes, sort of, even though I've marked that they're tied, I did write them in sort of a vibed preference order. And then again with Bridge Kingdom and You and Me, did the same thing. I knew before I'd even completed this, just like doing this, I could see this was going to happen. And so that's why for 2026, I don't have a book bracket. I just have sort of best of with big covers, just to avoid this, because I don't really care about ranking them that much anyway. Like, it was fun to do, but I don't need to do it again. Maybe if I get better at rating, or to use a different rating scale where I wouldn't run into so many of these ties, maybe I'll try it again, or if I was doing something different where it wouldn't happen, but retired for now. Then our last start of journal page before we go through the monthly pages is the yearly statistics, and this is all complete. So we have books read, pages read, 5-star reads, rereads, days read, translated books, countries, 25 in 2025, alphabet challenge, and goals complete for every month of the year. You can see only one goal, but everything else did pretty well. And then on this right side, we just have a couple of interesting marks. So my first thing I read was Zodiac Academy Fated Throne, and my last read was Doctored Vows. My longest read was Sorrow and Starlight, which was very long. It was like 1,200 pages or something. And my shortest read was The Burrowers, which was 140 or something. And then I have some pie charts. I did originally, if you've seen this page during my other videos before, you'll see there were drawn out circles. However, I started doing the math of the percentages and realized they're very small and confusing percentages, and gave up on trying to do that by hand, and went onto Google Sheets and made up these little pie charts, made them empty so I could color them myself, and just printed them out and stuck them in here. I think that worked a lot better for my sanity. I could have even left them colored in if I wanted to make it even easier, but this way I could sort of tie them together with my Tombos and have them written out here and everything. And yeah, that's all my start of journal pages. Let's have a look at each month. So January started off with this sort of green plant theme. I don't know. I didn't have much stationery at this point, so things were a bit limited sometimes. I also was trialing sort of what size and everything I wanted for this calendar, so you'll see this change over time. I'm using a little extra thing for my TBR that does stay the same the whole time. We then go into my review spreads. So you can see that if you've seen my reading journal videos before, the review spreads really haven't changed throughout the year. They have changed in the fact that there's now 2 to a page most of the time, but the general format is actually the same. What has changed is I've started, especially because I've gotten more Tombos, I've started matching the Tombow color to the cover color where I can. Before that, it was sort of like I'd just use the same 3 colors you can see, so they matched up, and that's how I do it. I also changed how I did the titles because my handwriting looks terrible here, so I stopped using this pen. And then we have January stats. So I read 9 books, read 4,732 pages, and all the other info. But this also stayed very much the same. I came up with this sort of format and just never bothered to figure out how I wanted to change it. I will change it for 2026. I'm going to get rid of least favorite read just because I don't really care about that, and just make favorite read bigger. But in terms of the layout of everything else and what info I'm going to include, I have not decided. So we'll find out together when that video happens. But yeah, on to February. Of course, more of a pink Valentine's theme. Again, this little calendar, it does become bigger later because it's very small. I want it to be more part of the cover spread by having it bigger. A very long TBR that I completed. But this is just like a very cutesy theme. Again, we have the 3 to a page reviews. If you want to see what I've written for any of them, then just pause. I also have notes sometimes. So this one's just Seth and Caleb Forever. Very original. I did get an Ask keychain the other day from a book convention, so that was fun. So that's now on my keys. This is only something I did a few times. This was when I finished my reviews, but I needed my my stat spread to be on this side of the page. I just did based on a series that I read that month or completed that month. I just did a cute little collage. I was finding it hard finding non-AI stuff on Pinterest, but I've heard that they've cracked down on that, so I might bring these back more in 2026 because I do enjoy having them, especially for series that I really enjoyed or like spent a lot of time with. And I like copying, sort of attempting to copy this. It does take a lot of time to do these spreads, but they are cute. They do provide a little sort of insight into where you were at the time. And then for my February stats, we read 11 books, 5,544 pages. And again, the same sort of layout. I think this is the point where I got my, no, look, it's not. I still haven't gotten my circle stencil ruler yet, so things are a bit dodgy, but they do get better. March is this blue theme. That is the only thing that really ties it together. Everything else does not look logical. You can see here I must have screwed up the calendar, and this is my covering of it, which I have done in at least one other month, if not multiple. Then we go on to reviews. I've started putting in little quotes sometimes when I have room and I have quotes to put in. And then again, if I had a little spot, I would just put something in there that followed the theme just to make it not so much white space. And then March stats, 14 books read and 6,438 pages. That is a lot. I was apparently only reading in March and doing nothing else with my life. Then we have April. Here is it? Yeah, here is the bigger calendar. So the start of me making the calendar. What is it? 1, 2, 3.5 dot grid spaces, tall and long. So now you can see, if we go back to March, it's just sort of, it is a bit more making the cover spread more about the calendar. At this point, I'm still using the Pigma Microns as outlines, but that will also change. I think, again, I have screwed up, and that's why this is here. Usually if I have any stickers or anything close to the calendar, it's because I screwed up in the calendar. This is where you can see I tried to read XOXO and then I did not. But yeah, it's sort of like a just orangey sunset theme, I guess you could call it. And here we go with more reviews. So then you can see, once again, I did this little, I do enjoy this one. This one, I do like the Zodiac Academy one. It was the the Ruthless Boys one that I didn't really like because I didn't really find much for it. But these ones have some good memes and just general, I found some good stuff for it. And then you can see I read 6 books and 3,018 pages. Then we have May. This is like a purple script. This is, I just received a big order where I bought this. I bought these flowers in like 6 different colors in a PET rolls. So this is me using all my new stuff. And is this? No, I don't think this is where I changed my review spreads. These are all the same. Here is where I drew my line in the wrong spot, and luckily it sort of fit in with the theme that I just added it to it. And again, one less book, so this little section. And again, I did more of these than I realized earlier in the year. I haven't done them in a while because I haven't needed to fill up the page, but another one that has a lot more vibes than specific things to do, partly because I just couldn't find as much. I think it was more like general, the whole Crowns of Nyaxia series, not specifically the duet. That's why. And then May stats, I read 11 books, 4,989 pages. Then June, this is again a theme called using the new stuff that I got from Journal Say like a month ago. This, I don't know what else to call this theme. It's interesting. I'm still using the Pigma Micron, but we have more reviews. And then we're back to the stats where I've read 9 books, 4,101 pages. And then we have July. I was wrong. It keeps going, but we do have this sort of, once again, we've gone back to the green theme, but it is with different things than the January green. I do like this one more. The January one was very like, I don't know how to do a cover page yet. So this one is nicer. And then we are going on to the reviews. Oh, here we are. Welcome. So yes, this is the point where I think I'd already finished reading for the month. No, That doesn't make sense. Because if I think I'd already finished reading for the month, and I realized if I did 3 to a page, then I'd have like 1 on this side with a lot of space that I didn't want to fill up, and then this to fill up, and then the stats. So I was like, oh, I'll try doing 2 to a page because that, leaves me with less white space. And quickly realized that it is hard to match stationery to a book sometimes. You can tell when it's just a couple of pieces of washi tape that I could not think of anything to do. It's especially hard with sort of like lit fix and stuff. Fantasy, I definitely find the easiest to sort of tie things in, even though I don't really have that many like fantasy themed stickers or like stationery, or I didn't at that time. But then we get to Ruthless Boys spread, which again, you can, like I mentioned it does earlier, it's a lot more white because I just couldn't find as much good stuff that suited it. And then for July stats, we read 10 books and 5,516 pages. Then August is this sort of brown, I don't know. My themes were just colours rather than like actually stationery and matching, I guess, but brown theme. And this is the month where I started changing to use my Tombos to outline the calendars to make them sort of a bit softer and to match the colour theme better. And I do enjoy doing this. I think I'm going to keep doing this into 2026, but also I haven't done my January cover spread yet, so we'll find out. Then I kept going with these review spreads. They're just like, they add more to the page, they add a bit more life, and they're a bit more like fun to do without taking up too much time. So I do just adding little bits together. And as I've gotten more stationery, it's also gotten easier. And then in August, another 10 books with 4,941 pages. Then September, we're like blue clouds. We love blue clouds. Even our TBR is blue clouds. Look at us go. And blue flowers, I suppose. We have more review spreads with decorations. It also helps because I don't like writing that much of a review. Like when I write it in my Notion after I finish reading a book, it's only 2 sentences. So there is stuff that I sort of expand on from those 2 sentences, but especially if it's been a long time since I've read it, there's not as much. And so it just takes up the space a little better while being more decorative than just squishing and having smaller review areas. And this was a big month of reading because we did our reading vlog during that time with 14 books and 5,044 pages. Then October, spooky season. My attempt at a sort of a spooky theme with what I had, with oranges and blacks. And ongoing with the big review spreads. I love that. Accurate. And then here, I didn't have as much or care as much about making these the big spreads, and also if I did these, the big ones, then I'd have one big blank thing and a whole blank page before I got to the stats. So this is where I decided it depends on the month as to how I feel, whether I do big ones or little ones, and I'm not going to force myself to do one or the other. I'm just going to go with the flow. And I read 7 books and 3,458 pages in October. November, this is my little gaudy pink theme with a lot, finding a reason to use my cute cat stickers because they don't really fit in my aesthetic without it being a theme, and also using some stickers that were like days for once. And this is also when I got my new Tombos, I can see. So we have more color variation with that. We have our reviews. This is when I can see I'm starting to read my 25 and 2025 books. You'll see most of them being read in this month and next month. And Little Dinosaur on a Ladder to fill up that blank space. And we read 9 books and 3,960 pages in November. Here we go to our last month, which you haven't seen yet. You saw the setup of the December cover spread, but you haven't seen it filled out if you've watched my previous reading journal video. What was the 2026 one came for? Whatever. So it's one of the videos I've done at the end of last year. But we've filled it all out now, and I've read a few books to try and get to my goal. So I've been doing these reviews over the past few days just off camera so that I can do them when I had time and sort of in the comfort of my bed and everything. I was struggling with a few things. Bridge Kingdom, I didn't really have much that's suited, but I don't have much fantasy themed stuff that isn't like specific. Like if you don't have obvious specific like vibes or funny things that happen, it's hard for me to find things. Same with Flawless. I didn't have any cowboy related stuff really. So I had this cute little lamb and I was like, yeah, there's sheep on a farm. And then this was from a Notion networking event that I went to, and it happened to have a cowboy hat and the stickers that they gave you. So I was like, okay, I'll use that. And that's all I had. One Dark Window, I kept it very simple, mostly because this is so like apt to a place in this book. So I was like, oh, I won't put anything else because I just want it focused on that. And I do struggle with the romances a bit too. I just never find as much to put. But then we finished it all up with December, reading 10 books and 4,092 pages. So then we have our last pages for this journal, and that is 2025 in covers. So I wanted to just have a spread at the end that represented everything I read this year. And so I made one with this little Dutch door that just has every single cover printed out, and mostly in order of reading. I unfortunately got to the sticking in the very last one and was like, that should be here. What is missing? What have I done? And unfortunately I missed Caught Up all the way back in June. It should be around, I think it was around here that I was listening to it. So I was not going to tear up every single cover or reprint and recut every single cover from June to here, because that is most of the covers. So unfortunately he's just gonna sit there by himself. But I did do some sort of little color coding lines with the month that I read each book in. It's also based off the theme color. So like December we used the Tombow, where is it? December we used this sort of like, what do you call this? Olive Tombow or something? I don't know what you call it. But that's that. And so that's what I've done throughout this entire spread. And that is the last page of our reading journal. We do have quite a few blank pages left that I might use if I think of anything else that I want to add, like any other final pages, or just use as research and development, or doodling pages. Like I was doodling the cover, the size of my new notebook before I received it, so I could have sort of an idea of what the size of it was, things like that. I'm not really picky whether it stays blank or whether it gets used. I don't mind, but we shall see. And so with that, it's time to close this reading journal and put it on the shelf and retire it. That is the end of our 2025 reading journal flip through. I hope you all enjoyed this video and seeing how the end of my first ever reading journal setup has gone and what it looks like at the end of using it for an entire year. If you are interested in seeing how the rest of my reading journal life is going and how year 2 will go, stay tuned, subscribe to the channel, and next up, the next video will be my January reads and February reading journal setup. So check out that video when it comes out. But if you want something to watch now, take a look at my 2026 reading journal setup video, which was really fun to do. Thank you everyone for watching this video, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.